Today at Manchester Theatres, Christmas has come early for me because I am here with theatre royalty Claire Moore, who is going to be performing this Christmas at the Lowry in Hope Mill's production of A Christmas Carol. Now, Claire is known all over for being an original cast member in Phantom of the Opera and Miss Saigon, as well as taking on leading roles in huge shows such as Les Mis, The King and I, Follies, Mary Poppins Evita. I mean, the list goes on and on. She has been in many cast albums, a vocal coach with the Children in Need Choir, has been on television, is a concert artist across the globe, and of course in the film version of the Hallmark A Christmas Carol with Kelsey Grammer. So we really are in the best company today to talk all about this show. Thank you for joining us, Claire. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me, Karen. It's brilliant.
So we have to say that you're back home where it all started for you, back in the Northwest. So does it feel really special for you to be bringing one of the most popular Christmas stories back home for Christmas where it all began?
Yeah, it absolutely does. I would never normally work at Christmas if I can help it, or work away. And when this came up, it was absolutely no-brainer. And to be back home, I've got my sister and her family and loads of friends here. And it's such a brilliant role in a show I love, you know. So it was like, well, on this Christmas, I think I'll make an exception.
It won't feel like work.
Well, no, it doesn't. It doesn't feel like work. It really doesn't. And you know, it is lovely to be home where, as you say, it all began. You know, I was really little when I kind of started singing, and my dad was a musician, he was a jazz pianist, and I was really lucky at school that somebody took an interest in me, a teacher, and one thing led to another. And then I studied in Manchester at the Royal Northern, and then my son studied in Manchester at the university, so this is still home to me.
Yeah. And you are playing the iconic role of Scrooge, the first female
in this version.
This version, yes, bring it on. So what can we expect to kind of change? How do you think that's going to change things?
Well, I think in the actual story, nothing changes. The events are all the same. But I think Joe Houston and William Welton really thought about how to make this work, and you know, their research into history, and it proves that there were women in business, running businesses in that time, although hopefully not like Scrooge. And I think they also thought how it would be from the perspective of a spinster and a childless woman, how she was treated in society, what she had to do to stand out in order to get the respect, and then to see how it affects her emotionally with the connection with the Cratchits and Tiny Tim, and I think that's a really beautiful new take on the story. It doesn't alter anything fundamentally, but it just changes, I think, for a woman to go through that story, and in our story we know that she has had a relationship and it never goes anywhere because of her behaviour and her avarice, and to suddenly see what could have been, that she could have had that family. We see it with her nephew Fred and his family, who she's really estranged herself from because it hurts, you know, and she's shut down emotionally, and then when the ghosts try and teach her the lessons of what life has to offer, and it's just a beautiful story of redemption, and I think it does resonate differently because of it being a woman, you know.
I was going to say, because ultimately it is a story about redemption, and you know, I think you don't normally get a character that's the lead that you don't like.
I know, it's so clear playing a baddie.
And then, so I guess that is going to be the different take then, isn't it? It's the redemption, and the way in which the audience can empathise and look at that will maybe alter as opposed to the events around it.
Yes, and I think also, you know, a woman at that time, and a businesswoman at that time, in a very male-dominated society, to command that respect, she would have to behave in a very, very different way. And I think those external habits then become internal habits. And as I say, she shuts herself away emotionally and builds these walls, you know, emotionally, in order to survive life, really, and the hand that's been dealt to her and her family through poverty, and the message her father says, don't, you know, save your pennies, don't be poor, basically, because look what happened to me, and she takes that too much to heart, really. And so it's a beautiful story, isn't it, anyway?
It is, yeah. I mean, it just goes to show generation after generation continue to come back to it.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it touches everyone in a different way.
Well, it does, and I think, you know, although it is a Christmas tale, it's set at Christmas. I mean, the moral of the story is universal and for every single day. We all need to be kinder.
Yes.
You know, and social media and all of that. We just need to be kinder. When I was growing up, it was a case of if you've not got anything nice to say, don't say it. And really, I think we all feel better if you say something nice and make somebody's day. We all feel better.
It makes you feel better
exactly.
as well, doesn't it?
So let's all learn from that.
Let's do that.
Thank you, Charles Dickens.
And being in this version before, albeit as a different character, also different genres, of course, you know, film to theatre, are you then able to kind of bring anything from that, or do you kind of have to look at it as a brand new entity?
Well, it's familiar because of the music,
yes.
Even though I only did a tiny bit, and of course when you do film you're never there together.
No,
really.
No.
So the first time I knew what the show was about was when I watched it like everybody else. But a lot of the music is familiar, although everybody says, oh, it must be really great because you must know it really well. And I go, well, yeah, sort of, but I never imagined I was going to be playing Scrooge, so that's the one bit I'd never really sort of taken on board before. And we've changed the keys musically.
Well, because
you know, the male and female voice sits in a very different area, and so if I'd sung in the written key for the man, I'd have sounded probably like Mary Poppins because it would translate higher for a woman, and we felt that with this telling and this portrayal of Scrooge, it needed to come off the spoken voice. And so before I accepted the job, although I was desperate to accept it, and I said yes immediately, I sort of said, will they allow us to change the keys so that the Scrooge is the same Scrooge all the way through and not suddenly going no, you know, and sounding ridiculous. And so, you know, the estate have been brilliant, and Joe and Will have been brilliant at making that work. So I really feel that I've been able to kind of approach it in my own way.
Good. And we are, of course, talking about the brilliant music of Alan Menken and Lynn Ahrens. So we've said there, you had some songs that you're singing, you're getting brand new ones this time, like Jolly Good Time and Nothing to Do With Me. Are you doing that as like the patter song? Because it's kind of...
all exactly. It's exactly as written. And, you know, the only thing that has changed, obviously, are the references to how she is, so Madam as opposed to Mr. And all of that. And all of this had to be okayed by Lynn particularly, you know, and so it's all in there. It's brilliant, and the brilliant company do all the hard work while I watch them doing it all, so it's what's not to love. I stand there with my ghost going, aren't they fabulous? Thanks very much.
I like this, I'm watching this. So if you had to be visited by a ghost of past, present or future, which one would you go for?
Oh, crumbs, that's a really brilliant question. Well, probably not the future, because I think I like the discovery of every day. The past, well, I've had a very happy past, so I think who doesn't love a Christmas present, eh? So I think I'd probably go for a Christmas present. And right now, I'm enjoying the present so much. I think that would definitely be the one, and we can then all just be in the moment and enjoy it together.
Exactly, live in the moment, And if you are getting in character then, so you're being Scrooge, is there anything kind of about Christmas that makes you go a little bit bar humbug?
Well, obviously it's become a very sort of commercial time, and this year, and I'm just as bad as everybody else, you know. And in fact, we've just put I got home for the weekend, so we've just put our decorations up earlier than we've ever done in our life. But because I'm only home for a couple of days, I just said to my husband, so we've got a few bits in every room, which would be lovely, and so I think we've decided this year, and especially it was the fact that I was doing this, and I've got no time, but also the fact that, and I said, let's just not go mad this Christmas. Let's you know, so I think it's nice to be able to support charities, and also the price of a stamp.
Oh, no,
really?
Yeah.
So, but I'm very bar humbug about that, because I do think at Christmas, and especially an older generation, a handwritten something is important. These days we send messages and all of that and digital things, which is fine, but I really wish we could have a bit of a discount on stamps for the over 65s or something.
That's a really good idea.
Because for them to be able to receive, or even, you know, for everybody at Christmas for 2 weeks or whatever, leading up to Christmas, so that people will send a card, because it's still a lovely thing to have. So if that answers your question at all, I think I've kind of gone off it many times.
No, you did. You answered my
So
question.
yeah, bar humbug.
Bar humbug to the
stamps.
stamps. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Claire, it has been an absolute joy to meet you.
Thanks,
I've listened to many of your recordings over the years, so thank you so much.
Well, you won't recognise me singing this.
You're going to be all grim and twisted.
Yeah, I am.
Well, honestly, I can't wait. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you can catch Claire at the Lowry this Christmas with Hope Mill's production of A Christmas Carol. Come along and watch it, because there's going to be nothing bar humbug about it, I promise you.
And if you don't, I'll come and find you. Bar humbug.